everyone, and welcome to the fifth episode of Beyond Care, where we shine a light on the real experiences, challenges, and resilience of caregivers. I'm Annika Dhariwal, co-founder of Learn to Care, and I'm really excited for today's episode. Today, we're talking about something many caregivers are curious about, but also nervous to explore: traveling with someone who has dementia. Travel can feel out of reach when cognitive challenges are involved, but the truth is, with the right planning, it's possible and even meaningful. To help us understand how to do this safely and thoughtfully, I'm so excited to welcome Kathy Smith Shoaf, a registered nurse, dementia travel specialist, and founder of Elite Cruises and Vacations LLC. Kathy brings a rare blend of clinical experience and travel planning know-how, and she's passionate about helping people to keep living even when health conditions create limitations. Kathy, welcome to Beyond Care. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I love what we get to do, and it's just exciting to get to share it with people. Thank you.
So I'm going to start with the basics. When planning travel with someone who has dementia, what are the most important safety factors to consider before the trip even starts?
Well, the trips that we schedule in and of ourselves in my company, we are professionally supported. And I have one professional to support every family. So, in the opportunities that the caregivers have, they need to check into the hotels, they need to go through security lines, they need to manage baggage issues. And sometimes the reality of that with a loved one that has dementia can be staggeringly challenging. So we have a lot of tips and tricks that we pass along. And then my staff is 100% involved in this process at whatever level the caregivers want them to be. So, number one, we always encourage our caregivers to have locked into their phones tracking devices so that if their loved one toddles off the wrong direction or decides that the bathroom is going to exit out of the wrong door, then we need to know where they're at. So tracking devices are comforting, helpful. Um, Number two, we always use door safety, door alarm devices for hotels and cruise ships, because that way they're just alerted and the caregiver can actually go to sleep without keeping one eye open all the time. But having the right support is really the true, honest answer, because without support, it becomes staggeringly difficult. From my own personal experiences with my own family, I know how challenging it can honestly be. Having someone there that can just hang on to your husband while you check in, or I get out my passports, or I sign my credit card, it changes their whole experience from being overly stressful to being relaxing and, yeah, we're going to do this.
Right. And then kind of following up from that, what are some practical steps that can help reduce travel related stress or confusion for someone living with dementia?
It's really important that we focus on locations, hotels, restaurants, cruise ships, experiences that can decrease too much stimulation. Um, Everyone loves music, then it's a positive thing in their lives, in our lives. But the right amount of music, the right volume of music, the right kind of music, all of that kind of stimulation is really important. Decreasing clutter and commotion, keeping things similar. I use cruise ships on most of our group excursions because I want to unpack once and I want to eat in the same place every meal, sleep in the same place every day, have all of our conference and adult daycare programming in the same day. So we keep things similar. I think that it's more challenging when we try to change locations every day or experience a lot of excessive noise and commotion in an environment, such as a casino. That just
Right.
kind of skip it. Just skip it. That kind of noise, commotion, lights flashing, um, music. It's too much. I think it's too much for me, but it's too much overstimulation, and then that's going to increase agitation and increase confusion, just just makes challenges that we just don't need to deal with.
I like that. So kind of reducing overstimulation and keeping a similar pattern in terms of the places you're going as well, right? When you're traveling.
And then it's really successful because when we have adult daycare every day, it's in the same room,
Mm,
same people conducting it, same staff there to do activities that they're interested in. Focusing on music that is specific to that client that they love, that they've enjoyed their whole life. Those kind of things really make a difference when the caregivers come back, then everybody's having fun, laughing, having fun, enjoying their moments. It just needs to be a time when the right stimulation is available, but at the right level.
got And then what are some essential items you would suggest caregivers always bring to ensure a safer and more comfortable trip for them as well as who they're caring for?
Well, definitely, like I mentioned, tracking devices.
Mhm.
I really encourage the use of them in some way, whether it's a pendant, a bracelet, a necklace, um, something we put in their shoe, something that's in their wallet, something that we stick down inside their name badge, just a device so that we can give the caregiver that little piece of comfort that we can find them at all cost. Also, door alarms so that the caregivers do not have to feel like they're sleeping with one eye open all the time. Caregivers need rest, relaxation, they need a respite. And in order to travel, they need to be able to go to sleep. So a door alarm is golden. Even when we really have never had a challenge with someone going out the wrong door prior,
Mhm.
when you're in a new environment, when you're in a different setting than normal, it's easy to have confusion and easy to go out the wrong door and then they don't know where they are.
Right.
So since the caregiver really wants to take a shower herself, or
Mhm.
he wants to shave or go to the bathroom, we need a couple minutes where we can take a shower without worrying about his wife or his mom
Right.
going out the wrong door.
That's fair. I think those are like some really important tools that everyone should probably keep in mind. And
It's just really, really easy to pack those,
yeah.
really easy to carry that kind of stuff around. And it solves a myriad of problems with something that's really very simple.
And then how would you suggest caregivers should respond to moments of disorientation or behavioral changes, especially during travel, and because it's an unfamiliar environment. So maybe the way people are acting out may be different, and it's just kind of away from familiarity for everyone.
It's a different answer for every family because you've met one person with dementia and you've met one person with dementia.
Mm.
But the answer needs to be reduce whatever stimulation is happening in that environment. So whatever's happening, if it's a restaurant that's too noisy, if it's on the street where there's too many people walking in both directions, whatever's happening at that time, we need to just decrease the stimulation and decrease the edge, decrease the situation that's happening, decrease the noise, the commotion, the lighting, just so that everybody has the chance to recenter will help. I also encourage caregivers to travel with some kind of medication or something that they know has helped them with those kind of challenges in
Mhm.
the past. Keep that stuff readily available. It's not an instant cure, of course, but have those things in your back pocket as a reserve so that if there's a challenging time, they know that they have that readily available. And, if we need to give it with pudding, if we need to give it with ice cream, that's something we can pretty quickly obtain and then make that kind of an option easier for them to go on with their day.
Got it. And then finally, what would be your top tips for planning activities that are engaging but not overwhelming for individuals with dementia? I know that's probably a tough one.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite game because we interview all of our caregivers and we talk with them about what their loved ones like to do. But
Mm.
in that survey, honestly, that we take, we talk about what did they do when they were younger? Where did they go to school? Do they love baseball? Did they love college basketball, college football?
Mhm.
Is he a Michigan guy? Does he want to talk about um, the Ohio Buckeyes? What makes him tick? Is he interested in in hockey? What kind of music did he enjoy listening to when he was younger? What genre of music did he grow up with when he was in school? And then we download those songs so that in a moment of agitation or a moment of anxiety or a moment of disinterest in what's happening, then I can play that music on my cell phone. So I recommend that you keep that kind of music that they love, whatever it is that they love. And that's different for every person. So it can be it can be from Madame Butterfly to hard rock, but whatever it is that makes that person happy will still make them happy now. If it worked when they were 20, it's going to work now. So those specific special songs are always a clue. It's always in my phone. I've always got it ready to go. I've got the song for each of our clients
Wow.
downloaded, ready to go, so that if we're having a problem in a restaurant, that song will almost every time bring the anxiety down, decrease the stress, and calm the environment down completely. So we create music. We also create games and experiences that work for each person. So if this guy was a basketball player in college,
Mm.
he's still going to want to do something that's physical at his current level. Maybe we play beanbag toss. Maybe we play checkers. Maybe we do an interesting walk on the deck. You know, the activities are focused on what that person engaged in and loves to do when he's at home or what he did when he was younger, also. A lot of art therapy. Let's paint. Let's create something that we draw. Um, it doesn't matter if it looks like a mouse or a dog. It doesn't matter. It's the idea of doing it and the accomplishment that's in our system when we get to do something like that. So I work with dementia certified activity specialists. I do not pretend to be that. I'm the nurse. I am the director of the circus, but we have those kind of surveys taken from all of our clients before we ever travel so that we know what they like to do. What do they enjoy? Word search puzzles. Maybe we play Uno. Maybe we play Uno by their rules, not by the game's rules that are on the game. Sometimes most of our games are created with new rules, new setups, new situations, but it can bring a lot of joy because we just take turns winning then.
Wow. I love that. I just love that how it's so personal to each individual and kind of, I guess, for the caregiver to figure out what works for each individual, whether it's something from their childhood or just their interest now, and then like working to bring that together to kind of help them.
And pictures, photographs.
Mhm.
I have encouraged our caregivers to load family pictures,
Wow.
family pet pictures onto iPads and then let them scroll through the pictures. That's a comforting conversation because now they can identify it. They can tell you, you know, that's even if they don't recall the name of the dog, they know they love the dog. And so that's a warm and happy, fuzzy feeling to see their dog, their picture, their love, their grandchildren, you know, whatever point of life they're in, um, relating back to situations, especially what they did in school, is glorious. If they went to the University of Miami, then let's talk about these hurricanes. You know, let's talk about what make, and they'll just beam that. You know, they will relate to that conversation immediately
Mhm.
because that's a very special part of what happened in their lives. It's
Right.
still in there.
And then before we end today, if anyone listening wanted to contact you, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you as well as to get access to your resources?
We are on the web. We have a full website at Elite Cruises and Vacations Travel.com. And the details of programming is all on there. And I'm happy to answer questions. The phone number is 888-826-6836. And
Like,
I'm very happy to answer questions, troubleshoot problems, listen to issues. That's what we do. That's why I'm doing this. And it's just truly worth the opportunity to make life good for everybody.
Kathy, thank you for bringing your compassion, expertise, and incredibly practical advice to today's conversation. I know so many caregivers listening will walk away feeling more confident and hopeful about what's possible in their caregiving journey. To everyone listening, if this episode gave you a new perspective, please take a moment to reflect on how travel might look different but still be possible. Be sure to follow Beyond Care for more conversations that honor the caregiver experience. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Thank you.